Kylian Mbappe wasn't exactly the hot topic of conversation in the summer transfer window, even though arguably he could have his pick of any team in the world. The PSG striker, not yet 21, Ale. He's 2 years into his contract at PSG. Should he be thinking about staying on for another couple of years, or do you think this will be his last?
Well, I think he has to see what the plans of PSG are into the future. When you sign a long-term deal like he did, it's because you believe in whatever PSG is putting out on the table and saying, look, this is what we want you to be for us, and this is what this club is going to be with you being part of it. And this is the plan, and this is how we're going to get there. But if you're Kylian Mbappe and you're sitting there and you see what's going on with Neymar, you say, wait a minute, what do you mean what plan? We have no plan. There is no plan. Now we're depending on whether this guy shows up or not, or whether he's in Brazil, or whether he's here, there, and anywhere. He doesn't want to be here. You guys don't want him here. And yet we're here sitting in the middle of the locker room thinking, hey, why not? We can use this guy out on the field. So then he has to look at himself, at what he wants to do, what his plans are, and do those plans match PSG? If he's comfortable at home, if he's comfortable at PSG, if he feels good there, he feels like he can be the best version of himself at PSG, I don't see a rush for him to go wherever that may be. There may be opportunities. People are going to be curious. People are going to be knocking on the door, but he has to make the best decision for himself. And let me tell you, even if he plays out this contract at PSG, whenever he decides to then go into the market, people are gonna line up regardless. He's that young and he's that big of a talent. So I wouldn't be in such a hurry just yet if I'm Kylian Mbappe.
Do PSG absolutely need him to fulfill their plan of winning the Champions League and becoming the club they want to be?
100%. And if you're PSG, the reason you come out and say, we want to move away from Neymar and the Neymar experiment, and really we think that this is not the path that we want to go into if we want to achieve the things that we want to achieve, is because you have Kylian Mbappe there. If Kylian Mbappe was not at PSG, you're not saying these things about Neymar. You're saying this because you feel that this guy is a talent, a generational talent, a guy that can take you and the rest of the team, put it on his shoulder and say, we're going in that direction. This is the sort of player and the sort of talent that I bring. This is the sort of guy that I am. This is the sort of personality that we need. A marketable personality, young, good looking, with a willing to put himself out in the media and do so with a smile. And you don't always have that. And he has the full package. And I mean, he has everything that you need to be a superstar on a world stage. Seems to have the maturity as well. So your PSG, you're hanging on to that as best as you possibly can and for as long as you possibly can. But as we know, in the market, the players usually have the control. The players usually can push the buttons. So it's going to be about convincing Kylian Mbappe that this is the best place for him right now. It may not be in the future, but right now, this is where we think you can thrive. This is where we think you can grow. This is where we think you can maximize your potential. If he buys into that, then he'll be at PSG. If not, he'll be somewhere else.
Perhaps he wasn't really talked about with moving this summer because he is only 2 years into that deal. The price tag, as it was a couple of years ago, 180 million euros, of course it's gone up since then. A lot of the clubs the two clubs that were really seriously linked with him, Real Madrid or Juventus perhaps, in terms of finances, it didn't seem as if they were, either of them, going to be able to pull off a deal like that this summer. Perhaps things change down the line. Where would he be best suited perhaps out of those two clubs?
I think where he feels most comfortable, and the reports have been that, well, for Kylian Mbappe, Real Madrid, that's my dream. And that's another thing. You don't know what the very subjective feelings and emotion, what kind of role they play into all of this. Because if that's his dream, if that's what you wanted to do since you were a little kid, if you got the poster of Real Madrid players and this is where you picture yourself being, then it just doesn't matter what everybody else is offering, because that makes a connection with the heart. And when you make a connection with the heart, it's just very difficult to turn elsewhere. Sometimes players will make decisions that are emotional. and they don't take into consideration the business aspect of that decision. But in this case, for Kylian Mbappe, things line up perfectly. There is a business aspect to it that would work out very well for him, and then there's an emotional aspect to it that also matches his own aspirations and his own dreams and the things that he wants to do. So the match made in heaven would seem to be logically and emotionally Real Madrid. Now, when that happens, it depends on when Real Madrid can get their finances ready and line up a real package for Kylian Mbappe, and whether Kylian Mbappe is ready to take that step. I don't think it's happening this year. It's not happening next year. But eventually, all these things are going to meet in the middle, and when they do, it's going to be a perfect match.
Okay, if the stars align then for Kylian Mbappe somewhere down the line in his journey. But with the season ahead, PSG have restocked, a lot of changes over there in Paris. Neymar still a part of the team as well. We'll see how far it carries them. Not domestically, of course. We know all about what they can do there. It's all about the Champions League this year for PSG and, of course, Kylian Mbappe.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPNFC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.